What is a schematic diagram and how do I write one?
Hello everyone! Today, we're delving into the fascinating world of schematic diagrams. Schematic diagrams are essential tools used across many fields, from electronics and engineering to architecture and computer science. We're going to learn what a schematic diagram is and take a step-by-step journey into creating one. Let's unlock the secrets of these diagrams together. Remember, a schematic diagram is simply a representation of the elements of a system using abstract, graphic symbols rather than realistic pictures.
What is a schematic diagram?
A schematic diagram is a type of drawing that represents the elements of a system. It uses abstract, graphic symbols to depict the components and relationships in the system. This is different from a pictorial diagram, which would attempt to represent the physical appearance or layout of the components. Schematic diagrams are particularly common in fields like electronics, where they can be used to represent circuits and their connections. They provide a standardized method of communication, allowing professionals around the world to understand the design and functioning of complex systems.
What are the elements of a schematic diagram?
The elements of a schematic diagram are typically symbols. These symbols represent the components of the system that the diagram is describing. The actual symbols used can vary widely depending on the specific field. For instance, in electronics, there are symbols for resistors, capacitors, transistors, and more. Each symbol in a schematic diagram is typically connected by lines, which represent the relationships or connections between the components. Sometimes, these lines are simple straight lines, and other times they might be more complex, representing things like data flow or signal path.
How do I create a schematic diagram?
Creating a schematic diagram involves a few key steps. 1. Understand the system. Before you begin drawing, you need to have a clear understanding of the system you're representing. This might involve studying the system directly or consulting with experts. 2. Identify the components. Next, list out all of the components that make up the system. This will vary widely depending on what you're diagramming. 3. Learn the symbols. You'll need to learn the appropriate symbols for each component. These symbols are often standardized, but if you're unsure, look up schematic symbols for your field to find charts or guides. 4. Draw the diagram. Start by placing symbols for each component on your drawing surface. Then, connect them with lines to represent their relationships or connections. Take your time with this step, and make sure your diagram is clear and easy to read. 5. Review and revise. Check your diagram against the actual system to make sure it's accurate. Ask others to review it as well, especially if they're familiar with the system. Make any necessary revisions to improve clarity or accuracy. And there you have it, the basics of understanding and creating schematic diagrams. By breaking down complex systems into abstract symbols and simple lines, you can make them more accessible and easier to understand. Creating a schematic diagram might seem daunting at first, but with practice, you'll find it a versatile and powerful tool. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope this guide has been helpful. Until next time, keep exploring and learning.